couldn't believe my eyes when I found a yellow possum dumped in the trash, tied up and barely alive. Who could do such a thing? I knew I had to help, so I rushed it to the vet, but when he saw the possum, his face drained of color. "You shouldn't have done that," he said. What he revealed next left me speechless. As I drove home from the vet's office, my mind was racing. How could a seemingly innocent possum turn out to be so mysterious? The vet's warning echoed in my head. Why shouldn't I have brought it in? I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to this bright yellow possum than met the eye. I needed answers, and I needed them fast before this situation got even stranger. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Back home, the first thing I did was grab my phone to call Sarah, my best friend. She had always been the wise one, so maybe she could help. "You won't believe what's happened today, Sarah," I exclaimed. After explaining everything, her voice filled with both incredulity and concern. "A yellow possum?" And the vet said, "What?" "Oh, Lisa, this is one strange day indeed," she sighed. Sarah's curiosity had clearly gotten the better of her. "Lisa, you need to give me the full story. I can't just sit here with bits and pieces," she insisted. We talked about meeting up soon, as she seemed just as intrigued as I had been. Her interest encouraged me to delve deeper into the mystery. Sarah and I met at our usual spot in the park. I recounted the shocking events at the vet's office, watching Sarah's eyes widen with every detail. Sarah leaned forward, an adventurous glint in her eyes. "I know it sounds crazy, but maybe we should investigate. I mean, it's risky, but aren't you dying to know?" I hesitated but nodded in agreement. It was a bad idea, sure, but walking away without answers wasn't an option. We decided to start at the only place I could think of the dumpster where I found the possum. Later that afternoon, Sarah and I arrived at the site where I'd first encountered the possum. Sarah surveyed the area with the same intensity as me. With the sun setting slowly, the area around the dumpster grew dimmer. We searched every corner, looking for anything that could explain how or why the possum ended up here. Just when I thought our search was futile, Sarah found something. "Lisa, over here!" she called out. I rushed over to see Sarah holding a dirty, discarded glove. Covered in some kind of odd chemical residue, it piqued our curiosity. "This has to mean something," she said, inspecting the glove closely. It might not provide all the answers, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. Thinking a few steps ahead, Sarah pulled out her phone and began snapping pictures of the glove and the surroundings. "These might come in handy later," she explained, and I agreed. Documentation seemed like a smart move. We agreed it was our best shot at finding out more about the possum's origins. She nodded vigorously, already brainstorming where to start. Back at home, I powered up my laptop and began my search. With coffee in hand, I scoured every corner of the internet, typing in terms like yellow animal sightings and local chemical spills. It felt like finding a needle in a haystack, but I was determined. My phone buzzed loudly, jolting me from my research. It was Sarah, her voice full of excitement. "Lisa, I found something!" she exclaimed. She had stumbled upon an article in the local paper. My ears perked up as she explained. Apparently, there was a report of unusual animal activities nearby. We both hung onto that thread, eager to see where it would lead us next. The article Sarah mentioned was intriguing. The more Sarah and I dug into the article, the more disturbing the speculation became. People whispered about the lab aiming to create animals with odd traits for some kind of secretive research. We were lost in thought, realizing our yellow possum might be part of a scandal far beyond our imaginations. "This is getting serious," Sarah muttered, a mix of excitement and concern in her voice. Determined to dig deeper, I headed to the local library, hoping to find more on the lab's history. Mrs. James, the librarian, kindly guided me to the archives. Her support felt like a small, encouraging nudge. As I combed through the old records, I uncovered several unsettling reports of illegal animal testing in our town's past. It was disturbing, yet validating. This wasn't an isolated event, it had roots. I called Sarah to join me. When she arrived, her enthusiasm reignited mine. We sifted through pages together, uncovering patterns and threads that pointed to something far more organized and alarming than we'd initially suspected. The depth of what we were finding made us pause. Sarah suggested a lunch break to regroup. At the cafe, we debated our next move. "Should we tell the authorities?" she asked. I wasn't sure. If we were wrong, the consequences could spiral. We considered alternatives. "Maybe we need outside help," I suggested. Then Sarah remembered her friend Greg, a seasoned investigative journalist. "He might want in on this," she said, texting him immediately. The idea of professional backup gave us hope. Later that day, we met him at a quiet diner. "Thanks for meeting us," I said as we handed over the documents. Greg scanned through them, visibly intrigued. "This is quite the tale," he said, flipping through our findings with growing interest. As he read on, his expression turned more focused. Greg was visibly intrigued by the potential scandal. "I'm definitely going to look into these alleged activities," he declared, a determined look on his face. His enthusiasm was infectious, giving Sarah and me the confidence boost we needed. Greg promised to dive deep, contacting his sources and exploring connections to local laboratories. Then we noticed something unsettling, an old gray sedan parked across the street again. It had shown up 3 times that week. The next morning, with a coffee in my hand, I met Sarah to hammer out our next move. "So, what's the plan now?" she asked, sipping her latte. We laid our evidence out on the table, papers fluttering in the breeze. I wanted to dig deeper, and it seemed Sarah was just as eager. "We need a solid strategy," I suggested, feeling the weight of our mission. My phone buzzed unexpectedly. It was the vet. "I've got something important to tell you," he said, making my heart pound. He explained that hazardous chemicals were responsible for the possum's unusual yellow color. "This changes everything," Sarah whispered. The implications were huge. Now, it wasn't just about mystery, it was about safety. That small creature might hold the key to something far more dangerous. Sobered by this, Sarah proposed we document everything. We began compiling an evidence folder, organizing notes and findings into a cohesive record. Each detail added structure to our growing case. Motivated by our latest clue, we contacted Greg. "We're onto something, and Greg should know," Sarah urged. When we met, Greg had news. "I've spoken to some of my contacts in law enforcement," he shared. "Hearing that our work had reached people in power gave me hope. They want to help," he added. For the first time, it felt like change was possible. When Greg confirmed that authorities would investigate further, Sarah and I exchanged a look of relief. We had fought hard to be heard, and now it was happening. Then, outside the cafe, I noticed a shadowy figure lingering. "Do you see that?" I whispered. Sarah followed my gaze, her expression tightening. It felt like we were being watched. "We need to be careful," she said, and I nodded. We were being pulled deeper into something that didn't want to be uncovered, Greg reassured us. "I'll handle anyone trying to scare us off," he said firmly. It gave us comfort to know we weren't alone. "We can't give up now," Sarah added. With Greg in our corner, our resolve only grew stronger. Then came the cryptic messages from unknown numbers. "This is getting weird," Sarah muttered. Though I tried to stay calm, the tension was getting to both of us. When we finally handed the report to law enforcement, the reaction was immediate. "Expect some protective measures from us," an officer assured us. For the first time, we felt protected, seen. Our persistence had paid off, opening a new chapter in our quest for the truth alongside professional help. Sarah and I kept ourselves busy, trying to maintain normal routines while anxiety brewed beneath the surface. "How long do you think they'll take?" she asked. I shrugged, clinging to hope. They promised to keep us updated. I reminded her more for myself than her. We teetered between relief and anticipation, waiting and hoping for steady progress from the police. Despite the tension, we stuck to daily routines, working, walking, staying active. "I won't let this consume us," I said aloud, trying to believe it. But every creak at home made me flinch. Every shadow felt suspicious. Hypervigilance became our reality. We kept close communication, alerting each other to anything unusual. It helped validate our feelings and keep fear from taking over completely. Then rumors erupted, whispers of high-profile arrests linked to secretive animal testing. "Did you hear?" Sarah asked, eyes wide. The town buzzed with theories. It was clear our efforts had sparked something larger. Neighbors reacted with disbelief and curiosity. "It's hard to wrap my head around," one said. The mystery that once lived in our notebooks had now captured the entire town's attention. Greg praised our efforts. "You guys really impacted this case," he said, beaming. It was affirming to know we'd made a difference. Sarah and I exchanged a proud look. This journey had been worth it. We decided to celebrate our progress with a small gathering. "We've done so much," Sarah said, raising her glass. "To more victories," Greg added. For a moment, we allowed ourselves to breathe and reflect. As we shared memories and laughter, we acknowledged the hardships we'd endured. "Can you believe all we've been through?" I said. Greg nodded. "You've handled it with courage." That night reminded us how far we'd come. Then Greg's phone rang. After stepping away to answer, he returned with excitement in his eyes. "There's been a breakthrough," he said. Sarah and I leaned in, heartbeats rising. Authorities had uncovered a hidden facility confirmation of the illegal testing we feared. "It's all true," Greg said. It was the proof we needed, and the relief was immediate. Word of the facility spread rapidly. Conversations turned to outrage and accountability. "Did you hear about that lab?" people whispered. Awareness grew, and with it, hope for lasting change. Soon, the authorities shut it down, holding those responsible accountable. "Finally, real consequences," Sarah said, visibly relieved. The town celebrated not just justice but closure. Then came the best news. The yellow possum had been relocated to a peaceful sanctuary. "It'll finally live safely," Greg said. "Like a happy ending." Sarah smiled. "We had fought for its life and won. We did right by it," I said, a warm sense of peace settling in. It felt like everything we'd done had led to this moment. Sarah, Greg, and I made a pact to stay alert and act when something felt wrong. "We can't let our guard down," Sarah said. Greg nodded. We were united by experience and a renewed sense of purpose. Our journey wasn't just about solving one mystery, it had sparked change. "Let's push for real protection laws," Sarah urged. Greg agreed, inspired. We had momentum and a community behind us. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something greater because of a yellow possum.